Folks, this week on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, we discuss last week's Payback pay-per-view from WWE, our thoughts on the new people in charge of WWE Raw, details on a major star being sent home from WWE over a contract dispute, and the final word over the quote-unquote death of TNA Wrestling. All that along with hot news, the Event Center DWHS, and this week's Diamond of the Ring, so sit back, relax, and get ready for the longest running wrestling talk show in the world right here, right now on My 24 Milwaukee and Fight TV.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime TV, the longest running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night for Saturday, May 7, 2016. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time knockout straight-edge hardcore goat face, controversial Hall of Famer hero.
You know, I'm only controversial because I'm honest.
Honest.
Yeah.
You're honestly controversial. That is true.
Yeah.
You are an opinionist.
I do. I have a doctorate in opinionology.
Where do you hang that?
It's above the toilet.
Okay, so you can look at it
reminds
frequently?
me daily that I've accomplished something.
Well, folks, let's get right to it. And this week's big story is brought to you by Gruber Law Offices, who's ready to represent you in your personal injury case and get you the compensation you deserve. Call 414-276-6666 or visit gruber-law.com for your consultation
Is it a dash or a hyphen?
It could be either or. It could be Mrs. Dash or Mr. Hyphen.
Okay.
Earlier this week, folks, it was reported that WWE and Ryback were engaged in a contract dispute that saw Ryback being sent home from WWE Raw on Monday. Ryback, who, as we reported last week, has been outspoken about his usage in WWE, specifically the last couple of WrestleManias, was also outspoken at last Sunday's Payback event, sporting ring gear that said pre-show stopper, and mocking former WWE star CM Punk as he entered Chicago's Allstate Arena.
But to be fair, the mocking of Punk was to get heat. He's the bad guy.
You fair.
I said to be fair. To be fair.
Well, maybe they added that too because of the timing issue at the show, as we talked about yesterday at Feedback Friday.
Bro, when
they let him.
When you cut a match short, you got to fill time.
They let him walk out there with gear that said pre-show stopper. I don't know if they let him do the CM Punk thing, but he did it, and it made air, and it stayed on air.
Yes. Well, they don't care about that. They mock everybody all the time. But you know what? Ryback, let's face it, he is a legit superstar. You may not think he is like a great in-ring wrestler. He's a great worker. He has the look, he has the appearance, he's believable, and he goes out there and does what is asked. He laid down twice. He has laid down twice, back-to-back months for Kalisto. Clean in the middle of the ring.
Well, Ryback has spoken out again online, folks, giving details of his contract dispute and confirming said dispute with WWE, saying, and I quote, this one's a doozy here, David. I was told to head home until we agree or not agree to specific terms, and contrary to reports, it isn't over money or a bus. That stuff was settled a while ago. Does he have a bus?
I don't know.
I'd be shocked. They pay for their own buses, by the way, from what I understand, for the most part. It comes down to a major problem I have with not only WWE, but wrestling in general. It blows my mind how in a sport which is predetermined from a company standpoint, winners are paid so much more than the losers. Every single person who works for WWE from top to bottom is absolutely just as valuable as the next. Now, David, the first part of that, I agree with. The second part of that,
because Kalisto is not as valuable as John Cena.
Right.
And I'm not picking on Kalisto.
Right.
Okay?
There's a pecking order.
There is. The Puerto Rican travel agents, they're not as valuable as New Day. How are they going to get them over?
Wait, the Puerto Rican travel agents?
Yeah.
You're talking Primo and
Is that the gimmick?
Epico?
They're not travel agents?
I don't think so.
What is the gimmick?
I don't know.
So
as you were saying, you're gone. Well, it's an interesting perspective for sure, but I'm not sure. As you said, the first part, yes, that it's predetermined and winners make more than losers, but the winners are the stars and the losers aren't, generally speaking. And the second part of that saying that everyone works equally and deserves equal pay is arguable and completely against what wrestling was built on.
They all have the same goal, and that's to sell tickets.
And to get over.
Yes. But by selling tickets, you're getting over.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I understand what he's saying there. Yes, if you're in, here's my thing. If you're in the main event, you should get paid equal value to the other guy you're dancing with in the main event.
Doesn't happen in boxing, does it? Winner gets the purse.
Well, right, but that's real. Okay?
They have competed and tried.
Okay.
And the XFL model, by the way, was that way. If you won, you got paid more.
Yeah, so I mean,
And it was real.
I completely understand that and get it, but at the same time, you know, Ryback versus John Cena sells a lot more merch. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he picks up the money there.
But there'd be no Ryback versus Cena without Ryback.
Agreed.
Folks, Ryback would finish his post saying, and I quote, WWE may very well release me, which if it is the case, so be it. If we can work things out, a lot needs to change as I'm not living in fear and creatively cannot continue to live a life that limits me creatively. I have many other interests and passions and have been very smart with my finances over the years. I thank every WWE star from top to bottom for their sacrifices and for working with me. So, David, will he survive this? Will we see Ryback again on WWE television? This quoted these comments posted on his Tumblr blog.
It all depends on the attitude of the office. I mean, basically, he threw his Punk card down. Not CM Punk, but hey, I don't really need you. I got money. I'm not happy.
Never going to be happy because none of the stuff he's asking to change will.
And then here's the thing: if they bring him back, now they change the model of everything.
Yep, it's like the guaranteed contracts, huh?
Yeah. So
takes one and it's done.
It's like, and you know, Ryback. I mean, he's had many opportunities over the years, as Skip Sheffield, as from Tough Enough, as NXT. You know what I mean? Yep. So, you know, they have definitely, you know, given him opportunities, and yeah, he's been a star. He's got over. He's the big guy. We'll
find out, folks, what this means for the future of Ryback in WWE as this story progresses.
What's next for WWE Raw with the McMahons in charge? Who won the first round of the PWR draft? Find out the answers to these questions and many more when Primetime returns here on My 24 Milwaukee and Fight TV.
The Soder family thought they'd take a road trip this summer. A little fun, a little sun. What could possibly go wrong? Even under the best driving conditions, semi-trucks can still be dangerous. The results of being in a wreck with 40 tons of steel and speed can be catastrophic. And it only gets worse when you don't have Gruber Law Offices on your side. If you or a loved one has been injured by a semi-truck, call Gruber Law Offices now. One call, that's all.
Welcome back, folks, to the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. And this week's WWE news is brought to you by Fight TV, where you can watch the tomorrow's Ring of Honor Global Wars pay-per-view. Fight TV also features dozens of other viewing options from wrestling, boxing, MMA, and of course, this very show, the Pro Wrestling Report, as well. So download the free app now in the Google Play and iTunes stores and start exploring all the great content on Fight, F-I-T-E, TV. Last Sunday at WWE Payback, WWE Chairman Vince McMahon granted control of Raw to both Stephanie and Shane McMahon. Now, while many talked of a potential brand split, that would not be the case, and we would see them hop right into action during the main event matchup, changing the rules not once but twice to make it a no disqualification and a no count-out match. Now, I found this announcement to be met with a bit of a thud, but after the fact, it may have the potential for a lot of intrigue with the family drama and the other still unaddressed element of Triple H.
Why'd you have a thud of that?
I think the crowd, both on the video version and in the live arena, did not react favorably. They were sort of confused in it. I think the announcement of Vince saying, well, why don't you both do it, take a shot at it, let's see what you come up with. Right. I think it was hit with no one reacted to it, really.
Well, I think people are exhausted of Stephanie, and I think Shane might be getting overexposed.
No.
A little bit.
He's still over like Mofo.
Grover? Over like Grover?
No.
Is that what you wanted to say?
Yes.
But I mean,
I don't know Grover.
I think it's going to be interesting. But see, they have to do it this way because that's how they're going to bring Triple H into the whole program.
Because he's still untouched.
Yes. And
not even mentioned.
He shouldn't be. Since WrestleMania, keep him off TV so when he comes back, it means more.
So do you think, with that being said, the challenges and opportunities that come from the McMahon kids running Raw, that might be the end game, if you will?
Yes.
Triple H versus Shane at SummerSlam. That's what I'm thinking.
Ooh, that could be interesting. It's in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn?
Yeah.
They need, I don't know what the money matches will be. I think they're on their way to doing some great things at SummerSlam, but I think that this makes some sense and can be one of those hook matches, if you will, for the big show over the summer.
I agree, and Triple H and Shane could be very good.
Now, when that happens, might we still see a brand split? Do they need to consider that? Do they need to do more to pump up SmackDown?
I think so. I mean, because right now SmackDown on the USA Network, and they can do a lot of more cross promoting that way.
Yeah, it's so off and on. The cross promotion or the attention that they pay to SmackDown.
The problem with SmackDown is because you don't have the main guys on SmackDown
regularly.
Right.
Occasionally.
I mean, you need to do that. You need to build up more guys so they can mean more. I mean, you can only have Ambrose and Reigns against Jericho and whatever so many times on SmackDown. It's like,
and we saw a 6-man tag team rematch on SmackDown this week from Raw.
I just wish they would change it up once in a while.
Well, folks, it seems certain that this will lead to a bigger story down the road, and we all get to watch it unfold on Monday nights.
The first round of the PWR Fantasy Draft scoring took place last Sunday at Payback, and the Nelson family has started the draft out with a bang. The family scored a total of 230 points with an MVP of Charlotte, who scored 65 points for the team.
The Super not very far behind, scoring 205 points at Payback. The MVP for the Super Friends was Roman Reigns, scoring 65 points as well. You can find all the details, scoring, and rules for the draft right now at PWRshow.com.
The draft continues with WWE Extreme Rules on May 22nd, and we'll have another score update for you then.
Folks, over the course of the week here we go.
Explain to me how I had most of the guys on my team winning, okay? And you get points because your dudes lose?
You get points because your dudes lost too. That's the scoring.
None of my guys lost.
That's the scoring. Well, then okay, you want lost points instead of win points? Because that's -5. That's 5 less points.
You should have
I can change that.
-5 less points.
I have 5 less points. I have more people who participated in the show and got more points. I had Roman Reigns as an MVP. You had Charlotte, but overall my team performed better.
I just think it's very odd that you are...
If you don't agree with it, take it to the Supreme Court. Maybe they'll give you the win. Folks, over the course of this week, TNA Wrestling announced several new signings and contract renewals. Caleb Conley and Allison Kay, not to be confused with Linda Kay, have been signed by the company, while Jesse Goddard and Robbie E. have both signed new contracts with the company.
I love Jesse and Robbie.
The bromance.
I do. I think those guys...
They still got Zima Ion with them?
Wait, yes. And did you know Robbie is him and his wife are expecting twins?
Now, I consider Rob Strauss to be a friend. And the fact that he is welcoming 2 children into this world is amazing and great. But that is a reality show, folks. Him and Brooke raising...
No.
I'm sorry.
Brooke?
I get confused.
Oh, my gosh. Come on. The state laws in New Jersey must be really lax for allowing him to have kids. And it's Tara, by the way.
That's what I meant.
You know, that's going to be on the sheets next week.
What?
According to
He put a picture out there. Everybody, I made a mistake in the name.
Nelson, Robbie, and Brooke are having kids. That's going to get us more heat with those guys.
More heat? I got no heat. It's actually quite temperate in here right now.
I'm sure.
Folks, later in this episode, I'm going to give you the final word. We haven't had a final word in a while on our quote-unquote controversial Death of TNA episode that you certainly don't want to miss.
What else does Damian have to say about TNA Wrestling? What does David have in store with this week's DWHS? Get the answers to all that and more when we come back for the final leg of Primetime TV.
Ring of Honor Wrestling rolls into Milwaukee on Sunday, June 12th at the Turner Hall Ballroom with a 7 p.m. bell time. Visit ROHWrestling.com now for tickets and info.
Welcome back, fans, to the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Saturday night. What a show it's been, David Hero.
It's been just
halfway through this thing already.
Sailing. You know what? We got a busy day tomorrow. We're fan-festing again.
With the Super Friends Fan
Scott
Fest.
Hall, Kevin Nash, and X-Pac will be joining us tomorrow.
I wonder if we're going to hear about that in the Event Center coming up.
Yeah, we will, but it's huge.
It's time for Hot News, folks, which is brought to you by PWR Reaction, which is live on air every Monday, Wednesday, and pay-per-view Sunday at PWRshow.com.
That's with
Matthew Thomas and the man they call Meathead.
Meathead's still around?
Folks, listen live and call in to share your thoughts on this incredibly interactive show, and you can get all the details on it right now at PWRshow.com. Hulk Hogan is going after Gawker again. Hogan, who won a $140 million case against the website for releasing his sex tape along with audio, is now seeking additional unspecified dollars for Gawker allegedly releasing sealed court documents to the National Enquirer that quoted him making racist remarks. Now, Hogan is saying that the release of those documents cost him his WWE career and named several other Florida residents, including a radio DJ that's not Bubba the Love Sponge, in the suit for their part in the release. Now, Hogan is looking for more than that $140 million that he won. That is currently under appeal by Gawker.
I mean, Gawker's attorneys have already racked up so much in legal. Now they're going to do another pony up?
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, it's...
what you gonna do, brother?
Well, folks, some unfortunate news as well, as David Hero was referring to the Fan Fest occurring this weekend in Milwaukee. Well, Bobby Heenan, who was scheduled to appear at that show, was hospitalized earlier this week as a result of a fall in his home. The 71-year-old WWE Hall of Famer was, as I said, scheduled to make an appearance here in Milwaukee this weekend, but will not be able to due to his recent fall. And we, of course, wish Bobby Heenan a speedy recovery.
Yeah, I got the message from Bobby's daughter. He had fallen on Wednesday morning, and his blood pressure was extremely low. Doctors want to keep him in the hospital through the weekend, and we're going to get Bobby rescheduled to be back here sometime in October.
And it's important to note that we saw Bobby Heenan at the Cauliflower Alley Club just a couple of weeks ago, and he was looking great, feeling great.
He was looking great. He was, Bobby was Bobby.
These things happen. It's not unusual. And we, of course, as we said, wish Bobby Heenan the speediest of recoveries. In a follow-up to our reports on the suspension of Adam Rose from WWE due to his second wellness policy violation, Rose did indeed release information from his doctor in an attempt to explain the suspension. Rose posted a doctor's note on Twitter that read, and I quote, he takes Adderall XR, which is an FDA-approved treatment for ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder.
Yes.
And we have followed all the standard of care protocols during his treatment, which has gone very well. Now, Rose's suspension apparently still stands in the light of the letter, which was dated 2 days after the suspension, and just yesterday, Rose had deleted all of said posts regarding his suspension on social media.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he got heat for that.
A little bit.
You know, here's the amazing thing, is guys like Ryback, Cameron, Adam Rose, using social media to show their frustration with a company that was extremely taboo before this.
Yep. Cameron supporting the comments of Ryback. Folks, WWE has also come to terms on the release of 2 broadcasters as of last week. NXT and SmackDown announcer Rich Brennan, we told you about this before, and WWE Network host and former PWR correspondent, used to be on this very show, David Hero. Kyle Edwards are both no longer with the company. Now, both were thought to be well, including personally. I thought they did great at their jobs, and I would expect that you'll see them both again real soon.
Well, I hope to see
television.
Kyle Arda Ocala Edwards.
Kyle Arda Ocala Edwards.
Yeah.
Folks, in ratings news this week, WWE sees an increase in viewership, reversing a 2-week trend, while TNA reversed the same trend and saw a decrease. WWE Raw had 3.4 million viewers, an increase of 300,000 viewers, almost making up for the losses from the last 2 weeks. Now, over on Pop TV, TNA Impact scored 303,000 viewers. For Impact, down nearly 30,000 viewers from last week's Sacrifice branded show. Now, that report there could be construed and taken as our normal TNA hate. But I just want to make clear that those were facts that were just presented.
Both companies are down 10% or up 10%.
It's a swing.
You know?
I don't think it's a swing between the two programs. I just think there was intrigue for Raw, of course, with Payback, the decision of who was going to be running Raw. And over on TNA, they had a bump last week probably for the Sacrifice branded show. That is this week's hot news, folks, and let's talk a little NXT, David Hero. Let's talk about the kids, if you will.
The kids.
And this past Wednesday on the WWE Network, Eric Young made his debut and had his first match as well. Now, did you think we'd see Eric Young competing in NXT before Bobby Roode?
No. Not at all.
No surprising choice. Not because he's bad, better, or worse than Roode, but just we saw Roode first on NXT programming.
Maybe Eric Young's schedule was more open. Maybe Bobby had other things he had to handle.
Well, Eric Young did challenge and had a match with the new NXT champion Samoa Joe, and that was the main event of the broadcast. And again, it was refreshing to hear the NXT broadcasters talk about the accomplishments of Young before NXT, even though they never mentioned TNA or any other organization by name.
They always consider the indies.
They didn't even say that. They just said he's been champion in other organizations. He's had all these years of experience in other organizations. Just really refreshing to hear that acknowledgement of the past of talents.
I'm an Eric Young guy. I've been an EY fan for a while. He is extremely good at what he does. And, you know, his evolution through TNA has been amazing.
Absolutely.
I mean, as far as Team Canada, just to Super Eric, just to all the different things he's done. He's so well-rounded, and he is going to be a star.
We're also told that former NXT champion Finn Balor is set to return on next week's broadcast. Will Balor go after the NXT championship or head in a new direction is the question at least I am looking forward to. That, David Hero, let's find out who got the diamond this week from you.
Oh, well, that's simple. This week's Robert Hack Diamond of the Ring is the current WWE World Champion.
Oh, shut your mouth.
Roman Reigns.
Really?
Are
you just you're baiting. You're trolling right now, aren't you?
Because if you think about what Roman Reigns has done, he is now just being Roman Reigns, the world champion. He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. Yes, he can just be the guy. But he's going out there and he's just taking care of business. He is like the lone wolf. He's like an island all by himself. He's going to go out there, boom, cheer him, whatever it is, he's getting a reaction. Some fans say, oh, turn him heel. Why? So you can boom louder? That makes no sense to me at all. Roman Reigns proved on Sunday he's in the same league, elite main event status as a world-famous AJ Styles. Had a great match. Looking forward to great things for Roman Reigns coming forward. And with that, David Hero has spoken.
Here's an interesting perspective. Back in, I believe it was 99, maybe 98, maybe 2000, Triple H was in a similar situation. He was hated. He wasn't respected. People didn't think he was championship material. Then he had that series of matches with Mick Foley, remember? And that established him. Nothing big happened in any of those one matches.
Well, he retired Mick Foley.
Did he?
In the Hell in a Cell at Rumble.
Oh, it didn't last.
Well, it never.
But anyway, okay, so something big did happen. But regardless, it was those series of matches that subtly and over time put Triple H as a top guy and put him as respected in the fans' views. I think we're going to see something similar with Roman Reigns over the course of the next few months.
You know what? My only concern, my only fear is that the Usos get damaged.
Ooh! Really?
Yes.
I think they're elevated.
No, but people aren't going to cheer the Usos because they're with Roman Reigns.
Well, folks, tomorrow night, Ring of Honor presents Global Wars from Chicago on pay-per-view.
Sure?
And the show is headlined, I'm sure of this, by Colt Cabana challenging Jay Lethal for the championship. Now, Colt Cabana came back recently to Ring of Honor, defeated in a non-title matchup Jay Lethal. Now he gets a chance at Jay's championship in Chicago tomorrow night.
Colt Cabana coming back to Ring of Honor is very similar to a Bret Hart or CM Punk coming back to WWE.
Yeah.
Left on bad terms, and for them to patch everything up, I think it's huge.
That's for business.
And hey, Colt Cabana in Chicago, his hometown for the World Championship. Oof, that's going to be interesting.
Folks, the actual Bullet Club has also been added to this show in a big eight-man tag team matchup. Pure wrestling-wise, this is going to be one of the greatest shows of the year come tomorrow night from Ring of Honor in Chicago Ridge.
It's going to be huge, and if you get a chance, they're sold out in Chicago.
Yep, the only way to see it is on Fight TV or pay-per-view.
And definitely check it out. It's going to be a great show.
We'll find out tomorrow who walks out of Chicago, the Ring of Honor champion.
What else does Damian have to say about TNA wrestling? What does David have in store with this week's DWHS? Get the answers to all that and more when we come back for the final leg of Primetime TV.
Cash for the Robert Hack Diamonds $250,000 gold buying event going on now. We're paying top dollar for your gold. Bring in your gold rings, gold chains, gold bracelets, and claim your cash. Bring in your diamond rings, diamond pendants, loose diamonds, and claim your cash. Bring in your state jewelry, your antique jewelry, and heritage jewelry, and claim your cash. It's fast and easy. If we can't beat a competitor's offer on your scrap gold, we'll give you $20 just for trying.
Robert Hack Diamonds. Fingers looking good.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report. Primetime Saturday night here on My 24 Milwaukee and Fight TV. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. And what's wrong?
I've lost my place.
You lost your place a couple of weeks ago. Are you now? But now are you found?
We're here?
Folks, a couple of weeks ago, we discussed the challenges facing TNA wrestling, and it certainly stirred up a lot of reaction and discussion within the wrestling community. Now, I want to make one thing crystal clear right here, right now. Neither David nor myself had anything or have anything bad to say about any of the talent, creative team, or anyone else really in TNA. My issue, which I thought was clearly stated, was with the management at the top of TNA Wrestling. Now, if you listen to what I said in the episode, I said that I have a ton of respect for Dixie Carter and her passion for the wrestling business, but I also said that when the team can't win, then the coach needs to go. I don't see it differently than any other corporation that is not producing results or a sports team that can't produce wins. Now, this is not a personal attack on Dixie Carter, not in the slightest. Carter has been a friend of the show for years, and as I pointed out, has helped this show a lot. We owe her our thanks. But as passionate fans of the business who want to see TNA grow to what it could be, I felt that the reporting we did had to be done. I stand behind everything we reported, and if anyone takes a detailed look at the challenges the company has faced that are all public, they will likely draw the same conclusions that all the other people in this business, us and experts, have done. So we also make sure that we hold our brand in the highest regard, and we also hold our relationships in this business with high regard as well. We would never report anything that would jeopardize the brand or those relationships. It wasn't for ratings, it wasn't for a pop, it was because of our love for this business. And again, we want TNA to continue. I want TNA to continue. The fans, even though they may not all know it, want TNA to continue. And well, that, my friends, is the final word on our Death of TNA episode.
That was very Jerry Springerish of you.
Take care of yourselves and each other.
Welcome to the PWR Event Center, brought to you by Casablanca on Brady, bringing you the finest in Middle Eastern cuisine in a truly unique dining experience. Head on down to Casablanca for some great food and some #tremendous hookah.
The Super Friends Fan Fest continues tomorrow at the Days Inn on South 13th Street with Scott Hall, X-Pac, and Kevin Nash of the NWO.
They won't be alone, though, as they are joined by Melina, Thea Trinidad, Angelina Love, ODB, and Davey Richards.
Tickets are available at the door, so don't miss out on the last day of Super Friends Fan Fest.
Coming off the heels of tomorrow's Global Wars pay-per-view in Chicago, Ring of Honor invades Milwaukee on Sunday, June 12th for the road to Best in the World. Will Jay Lethal still be ROH champion? We may not know that, but we do know that he will be here in Milwaukee on June 12th.
That's it for this week's Event Center, brought to you by Casablanca on Brady.
Well, Damien, it's time for DWH.
Is it?
David here.
God, I was hoping we ran out of time for this.
No, there's plenty of time for that. It's the spoken word. And let's talk about Enzo and Cass at the pay-per-view. Enzo taking the bump.
How you doing?
Tweaking his head on the rope, bouncing his head off the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring by far. Knocked himself unconscious, and it's just a reminder that we watch all these guys do flips and spins and jumps and high spots and jumping over the top rope, through the ropes, and dropping legs, everything else. You're always a millisecond, a millimeter from being seriously hurt. And when we were there, we saw it happen. Immediately when it happened, Big Cass jumped off, runs around the ring. We saw the stretcher come out. We saw someone bring a defibrillator. That's when I got a little bit nervous. At the end of the day, wrestling fans, these are professionals that have learned their craft. They've been around the world. They've been on the indies. They've been at NXT. And even they can get hurt. Kids watching at home, don't try this at home. That's what they're trying to tell you, because you never know if something that flukish could happen. And with that, David Hero has spoken.
And with that, that's this week's edition of Primetime, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you Friday for Feedback Friday at PWRshow.com.